On to our continuing focus here on WION. A group of armed men have abducted 7 Indians in Afghanistan. Local Afghanistan officials claim the Indians were kidnapped in the northern Baghlan province. They were working with a power company, KEC. They were reportedly kidnapped along with an Afghan colleague. The incident took place in Pol-e-Khumri in the northern Baghlan province. India's Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed the kidnapping of the 7 Indian engineers. The ministry has said that they are in contact with the Afghan authorities and further details are being ascertained. Harsh Goenka, who is the chairman of the RPG Enterprises Group, which owns KEC, with which these engineers have been working in Afghanistan, has issued a statement. He has said, and I'm quoting, request Minister Sushma Swaraj and the Ministry of External Affairs to help rescue 7 of our managers from the kidnapping in Afghanistan. For more perspectives and details, let's go across to senior journalist Shadi Khan Saif joining us from Kabul for more on this. Shadi, good evening. Appreciate very much you're speaking with us here on WION. Very scanty is known as of now in terms of the sequence of events and the circumstances under which these engineers were kidnapped. What have we been able to piece together so far?
Well, indeed, this is a very high-profile kidnapping. Interestingly, the Taliban have not acknowledged or rejected the allegations leveled against them by the provincial administration in Baghlan. Usually, their media communications are very strong. Today, an IED blast took place in Khost province. And within minutes, the Taliban rejected their involvement. But in regard to this kidnapping in Baghlan, there is no confirmation or rejection from the Taliban in regard to their involvement. But the provincial administration in Baghlan is very certain. They have even named the commander, the Taliban commander, who is allegedly involved in this kidnapping. So that's what the latest we have received so far. The Ministry of Interior in Afghanistan or the Indian Embassy, they have not commented on this incident so far. The area where this kidnapping has taken place is a remote, relatively remote province at about 4 hours drive from the capital. So information is not coming out very fast from the province. Perhaps tomorrow we'll get a clear picture. At the moment, as I just said, there is no confirmation or rejection from the Taliban, but the provincial administration is very certain that a Taliban commander named Qari Shaheen or Mullah Shaheen is behind this kidnapping.
All right, stay with me, Shadi. I'll just come back to you. Also joining us on the broadcast is senior journalist Zabiullah Noori. Appreciate your speaking with us. All right, we'll just go back to Zabiullah Noori. Shadi, the fact that this area where the incident occurred is a no-go zone as far as Taliban is concerned, is that correct? And what does that really tell us about the Afghanistan government? Many are calling this a failure on part of the Afghanistan government when it comes to ensuring the security of those working in Afghanistan is concerned.
Well, in many aspects, the government, in the capital Kabul, attacks take place on a pretty regular basis. So the government, no doubt, is on the back foot. But the no-go area, in a sense, Pul-e-Khumri is not part of that area where the Taliban are in command. There are small pockets in the whole country. They are usually small districts in remote areas where Taliban are in control. But Pul-e-Khumri is a relatively bigger city, but there are pockets close to Pul-e-Khumri, like a place called Dande-Ghori, where the Taliban are present. They have their own affairs going on. In that sense, Pul-e-Khumri doesn't fall in that list of areas where Taliban are roaming around relatively freely. But no doubt, kidnapping of foreign nationals and those working on development projects, their security remains a top priority for the government, which is trying very hard to improve the economic condition of the country. And bring electricity from Central Asian states and develop dams here in the country. So no doubt, it's something the government would not want to happen again and again. But we've seen such incidents take place. Two foreign professors of the American University of Afghanistan still remain with the Taliban. They were kidnapped more than 2 years ago, and the Taliban have claimed their abduction. They want Anas Haqqani, a close relative of the leader of the Haqqani network, to be released. So in some way, one can assume that if the Taliban are behind this kidnapping, but they are not claiming responsibility, they might go for they might demand release of their comrades, or perhaps some sort of deal with the government. Even financial deal can happen. But at the moment, there's nothing on record, at least from either side.
All right, hold that thought there, Shadi. I'll just come back to you. Also joining us is Zabihullah Noori, senior journalist and an Afghanistan expert. Thanks very much, Zabihullah, for speaking with us. As we speak, the Afghanistan government is making concerted efforts in close tandem with the Indian authorities to try and secure the release of these Indian engineers who have been abducted along with an Afghanistan colleague. The fact that these engineers were working with a power company, they were working on laying down that transmission line between Chimtala and Kabul. Do you see any sort of linkage there, the very fact that the Taliban have targeted these engineers?
Well, the Taliban, we have to know one fact, that the Taliban are supported mostly by the Pakistani government. It has been proven time and again that they are supported by the Pakistani government. And any Indian citizen, regardless of what they do, whether they work for the government or for a private company or any way, as long as they're Indian, targeting them is the prime goal of Pakistani and whoever is being backed by the Pakistan. And if the Taliban can get 6 or 7 Indians in return, they can get release of any of their prisoners or any of their demands, or even if they make some money, that's an achievement for them.
All right, Zabihullah and Shadi, I'll just come back to you. Also joining us on the broadcast is Ambassador Vivek Karju, India's former ambassador to Afghanistan. Ambassador, I'll just come back to you. Let's also take a listen in to a conversation that we had earlier in the day with the deputy spokesperson of the Baghlan governor. And he had shared with us some details. Nazir Najm spoke with us. Let's take a listen in.
And heartbroken that today morning, approximately on 9 o'clock, 7 electricity Indian engineers and 1 Afghan driver were about to visit from the Khojalwan electricity substation, which is now under the construction. Unfortunately, in the Kashmir area, they were abducted by Taliban's regional commander, namely Mullah Shaheen, and they shifted to the Uzghari area, which is under the hand of Taliban. So our national police and army are trying to release them from the Taliban as soon as possible, because they were at the service of Afghan people, and they did a great job, and we are trying to, as soon as possible, release them from the Taliban.
Ambassador Karja, I want to come in and get a perspective from you. What do you make, first of all, of the timing of this incident, coming in the backdrop of those negotiations and those talks that have been taking place between the Afghanistan government and the Taliban leadership?
Well, my own sense is that those talks between the Afghan authorities and the Taliban about reconciliation are not really making much headway, because I think it was on April 22nd that the Taliban announced their spring offensive, and that certainly didn't indicate a desire to return to the path of peace. But if you permit me, coming to this specific incident, I think for the Indian authorities, as indeed for the Afghan authorities, the first thing is to ascertain the reasons for this abduction, and that has to be done in a very sober manner, in a manner that is accurate, and also that would lead to the safe return of the 7 engineers, because India's priority and that of our Afghan friends, first of all, is the safe return of these engineers. Now, there could be any reasons, stretching from plain abduction for extortion and money to India being a specific target. But there's one thing that I read some time back, which I don't know if it's relevant here, is that the Taliban in Baghlan province have targeted power transmission towers. They've also demonstrated against power electricity generation. The report that I read indicated that they were unhappy with power being denied to certain districts where, in Baghlan province, where the Taliban claim that they have influence. Now, if that is the reason, that it would mean that Indians are getting caught in a crossfire between the Taliban and the Afghan government. Of course, if our people have been made a specific target by the Taliban, then it is more sinister, and our people and our own authorities will have to take a very hard look at this. But as of now, I think we all have to deal with this situation as Indians in a very calm manner, because our priority first and utmost is their safe return, and I'm sure that that is also the priority of our Afghan friends, because as of now, that is the only object that anyone can have.
Absolutely, and that is the prime concern of both the Indian as well as the Afghanistan authorities. Stay with me, Ambassador. I'll just come back to you. Let me also go across to my colleague Amitabh Revi, who is joining us for breaking down the earlier instances when Indians or Indian officials have been targeted in Afghanistan.
Indians have often been in the crosshairs in Afghanistan. Indians have been targeted before, as have Indian assets. Some of the incidents that have taken place in the recent past include the kidnapping of an Indian woman who worked for an NGO, the Aga Khan Foundation. Judith D'Souza was kidnapped in broad daylight from the middle of Kabul in June 2016 and subsequently released just 44 days later. You're seeing pictures of her with the Prime Minister and with the Foreign Minister after her release. One of the other attacks that targeted Indians was in 2015, where a guest house was attacked. This is a guest house that we've all traveled to and lived in before, and 4 Indians who worked for ministries in Afghanistan or other development projects were killed in that attack. An attacker got in with a gun during a musical performance and then went room to room and killed, among others, 4 Indians. In June 2014, an Indian Catholic priest was kidnapped. This is in Herat in the west of Afghanistan, bordering Iran. And Father Alexis Prem Kumar was released over a year later in 2015. Again, pictures of him after his release with the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister. In 2010, there were 2 guest houses in Kabul that were attacked and 6 Indians were killed, including 2 unarmed army majors. They were doctors there. There were another 5 Indians from the army who were injured in that attack. They were all unarmed. They were providing medical assistance and training to Afghanistan and the various hospitals there. One of the big attacks that took place was on the Indian embassy in 2009, where 17 people were killed, most of them Afghans. But this was a precursor to one of the most high-profile targetings of Indians, which took place in 2008. Again, an attack on the Indian embassy in Kabul, where over 58 people, most of them Afghans, were killed, but high profile in the sense that the Indian Defense Attaché, Brigadier Mehta, political councillor V. Rao, and 2 ITBP guards, Roop Singh and Pathania, were killed. Those ITBP guards, in fact, prevented the suicide bomber in his Toyota Camry from entering the Indian embassy, the old Indian embassy, and causing more damage. Most of these attacks were blamed by intelligence, the US intelligence and Afghan intelligence, to the Haqqani network that is based in Pakistan. In 2003, the Indian ambassador there at that point of time, Vivek Karju, was responsible in getting 2 kidnapped engineers released. That's the hope that the 7 Indian engineers who have been kidnapped in Baghlan will also hopefully have.
So multiple instances earlier in the past as well where Indians have been targeted. This time around, 7 Indian engineers working with a power company, KEC, which falls under the group RPG Enterprises, have been kidnapped in the northern Baghlan area. Zabiullah Noori joining us for more on this, an Afghanistan expert. These are instances where Indians have been targeted in the past. Help us understand the kind of safety measures or precautions rather that employers in Afghanistan do tend to take to ensure that their employees are safe and are working in under the close supervision of the Afghanistan authorities.
The companies do have a responsibility of safety and security of their personnel. But remember, the Afghan government banned most of the private security companies that would provide security for these kind of companies like this electric power one. Now the entire security is dependent on the government. If it's a private company that needs security, the government provides that, and if it's a government facility that's also secured by the government. So the entire security responsibility is back to the government. But when the government fails and the government does not have sincere intention in defeating the Taliban, particularly in the northern Afghanistan, these sort of incidents is an obvious indication that things could happen, go wrong.
Absolutely. Ambassador Karju, I want to come to you. We're just about wrapping this up for a final closing remark.
Well, as of today and now, our thoughts and prayers must be with the 7 Indian engineers and the Afghan driver who have been abducted, and with their families. I think, as Amitabh said, I myself, when I was ambassador there, went through an experience of 2 of our engineers being abducted, and they were abducted at around Zabul. And I know the excruciating difficulties that were there to get them released. I'm not free to tell you the details, but that was the cooperation of our Afghan friends, of Interior Minister Jalali, who was then there in Kabul, of certain other Afghan notables, that we were able to secure their release. Today, I am confident that our government will be doing everything in its power, and that the Afghan authorities will do everything in their power to get these people safely released. And we have a duty as a country, the media, all of us who comment on these issues, to behave in the most sober manner so that nothing we say will harm them or come or obstruct their safe release. I'm sure you have, permit me to say, that this program has been conducted very soberly and very calmly, and I hope that that would be followed. I'm sorry if I'm saying this, it's not to intrude on your media liberty, but what can be more important than the life and safety of our fellow citizens and of our Afghan brothers?
All right, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Thanks very much, Ambassador Karju, Shadi Khan and Zabiullah Noori, for joining us with all of those perspectives and details. As Ambassador Karju also put it, the prime concern of the Indian authorities as well as the Afghanistan counterparts is to ensure the safe return and release of the Indian engineers who've been abducted in Afghanistan and to ensure their safety at the earliest possible.